Alright, to start things off, once Human launched version 2.0 with the addition of classes. This includes Beastmaster, Chef, and Gardener. I put the most of my time into Beastmaster, some of my time into Gardener, and then Chef my friend is running, so I'm just kind of learning about it through him, and also just content. Chef kind of went down as the most likely to be OP because, I mean, food buffs are already pretty huge. So to get more food buffs just seemed like it was going to be a win-win. But obviously this video is to talk about Beastmaster. I want to give a quick overview, talk about my experience, my plans, and the most important thing is my concerns. I'm going to start off with giving an overview of the Beastmaster class. As a Beastmaster, animals in the world are actually neutral to you, they will not attack. You can actually also go up to them and inspect them by pressing F. When you inspect them, you can see their traits, which is going to be important for breeding, min-maxing, and also farming off of them. You can actually tame most animals in the world, it seems like. The major exclusions I saw was most birds. I think you can actually get the flamingos, but you can't get like flying birds. And along with that, I wasn't able to capture mutants as well. If you look at an animal's health bar, you should see a white line going through. That will show that you can capture it, and that is also the threshold of HP you have to take down for your tranquilizer to work. These tranquilizers are a throwable or arrows that you can craft at your supply bench in your home, your base. And then in your base, when you inspect your pets, you're going to be able to see their tameness, their HP, their food, their drink. You can drop the food and drinks on the ground and apparently they'll eat it. Otherwise, you can just build a trough and drop it in there. Now, since I focused wolves, all I did was give it bear meat and water. It is very important to feed them their favorite food so they tame faster. And we'll talk about tameness a little bit later. Also at the supply bench is where you're going to craft your whistles. You start off with the red and you can craft blue and green and then you assign them to your pets. That means you can have a maximum of 3 pets with you at a time. Pets can also wear a single piece of equipment that you can also craft at the supply bench. And now things are going to get a little messy. Also at that supply bench is mutation craftables. This is going to be important when it comes to breeding and maxing the traits that we talked about earlier. So when your pets get the final hit on mobs, they have a chance to drop a factor. The main 3 actually makes your pets elemental. After that are ones that do damage boost to certain enemy types, and then also you can just make it drop whatever kind of fur hides you want. So you get the factor, then you also have to get the mutant gene, which comes from animals in the world with the mutant trait. Now remember earlier, we said you can go inspect things in the world to figure out what traits they have. So you have 2 routes. You can either try to have your pets kill things with the mutant and hope it drops the factor for it, or you can capture them, which, yeah, I forgot to mention, you can slaughter the animals that you capture. So what happens is you capture it, you bring it to your base, you put it out, and then you tame it until it unlocks the trait, which depends on how many traits it has and how far down the list it is. So it could be 20, 50, 80, and I think even 100. That means when you slaughter it, you actually just get the mutant factor. And so when you have that crafted, you're using the selective breeding tab to breed it off to the younglings. So now let's talk about breeding a little more. For them to even be allowed to breed, you had to tame them all the way to 100%. You're also going to need to build the youngling hut. Each animal has a limit to how many times they can breed. This goes depending on what grade they are. I think we call them rank in this game. And also after they breed, it's like a 2 to 3 day cooldown before they can breed again. My experience has been that there isn't a 100% pass down rate as well. So there is RNG that goes into that. And then when you do get the cubs, you have to place them out in your base and then they will mature. And again, another, it seems like 2 to 3 days to be adults and then you can breed those again. The good news is they do start fully tamed. It's just that you basically go through the same thing because you had to wait for them to mature. So realistically, it's the same shit. So my experience with the class so far. I started off Beastmaster picking out the wolf as it seemed like the obvious choice as a raw offensive kind of pet. And that wolf started off as very strong. I will say this is a very good class if you're a beginner of the game and you don't really know what's going on and you don't really have a lot of gear, you don't really know what's going on. This pet will carry you through the start of the game. It was just walking around 1 to 2 shotting things. So when you're just running around with your struggle axe or starter pistol, whatever, this beast will carry you through it. And even when your wolf is lower level than the mobs, they still do a decent amount of damage. Now, unlike you, they don't level off kills or anything like that. You actually have to cook them food that brings them up another 10 level bracket. So there's one for 20, 30, 40, 50. 50 is the max you can level them up on your own. However, animals in the world do go higher level and you can actually use pets up to 9 levels above you. Even though the game says 10 somewhere, it only really works on 9 levels above you. And a small piece of advice, if you are trying to level up something that's in your base and you're trying to feed it, make a box, put it in that box, build a trough, and only put that food in the trough. If there is basically anything else in it, my wolves will not eat it. So I just had to put the thing in jail until it ate. Now, while it was strong at the start, it definitely did not scale that well with level alone, which was kind of my concern, as I had a feeling it wasn't going to scale that well. Now, they're not useless. They still do a decent amount of damage. They're just not huge. But my best pet only really has 2 out of 4 good traits so far. I think Beastmaster could still be very strong. It really just depends on how the math works with the traits, if they are additive or multiplicative. Though, if I had to take a guess, there's probably a mixture of both. When I read them, I think the ones that say final damage are probably multiplicative, while the other ones are additive. However, this game also has a pretty not great history when it comes to translation. The translations on a lot of things seem to change, like they just toss every build into a generator and hope it comes out decent. My initial plan for the video was to actually wait until I have a full build and then review what I think about the class afterwards. However, due to the amount of time gating and RNG involved, I decided I wanted to push out this video faster to talk about really how I feel about the class. So my plan is, since the 3 best factors ultimately give you a 50% damage boost when they are under the element, I think it's safe to say that BM is going to be focused on elemental weapons. Also, fun fact, your pets do not count as a bounce target, and there's nothing to do with bounce. I really wish bounce would work on these. That would be really great. I would love it, but it doesn't. So my current plan for the wolves would be probably a fire factor, since I am running the boom boom right now, since that is a 50% and then also a zone that does 10%. The alpha wolf potential, which when leveled up is another 50%. Behemoth 3 is a 30% final damage, so again, I'm hoping that's multiplicative. Then that leads me to my final slot. I kind of have 2 choices in mind. If I really want to focus on just farming bosses, I can go with the one that does more damage to great ones. That would be another 40% damage boost to great ones. However, if I want to make my pets more all-arounder, I would probably go with the wolf pack buff that buffs them when there is a alpha around, which is 25% attack and 50% HP. And I'm also kind of hoping that they didn't code it properly, meaning that if all 3 have the alpha potential and all 3 have the wolf pack, I'm hoping there isn't a limitation to how many alphas are in the group. Meaning if I have all 3 summoned, that's going to be 2 other alphas for every single one with Wolfpack. So hopefully that will be another 50% boost and a 30% health. We'll see. I also saw the Terror evolvable, which I think was a final hit one, which would have been nice to have. But the issue is I saw it once and then I didn't realize after I started killing it that I was out of tranquilizers. And instead of going back and crafting some and coming back, I killed it thinking I would see it again, and I just never saw it again. Now, these classes are in a test period, so I am expecting a lot of changes. Something you should understand about Once Human is basically the community, we are the testers. The overall theme of what I think needs to be changed about this class is really removing a lot of the time gates, or at least a lot of reduction. Beastmaster is a lot of work and a lot of time compared to the other 2 classes. Gardener is basically normal planting with some extra steps and some other things to it. And it actually makes a lot of things more automated and easier. While a chef basically relies on a gardener for the ingredients. With BM, however, you're going to be spending a lot of time farming up the right trait. Then after that, you're going to let it just sit in your base to tame it for multiple days. And then even after they breed, then there's another cooldown for another couple days before they can do it again. The child's traits are RNG, and while you don't have to tame them, you still have to wait for them to mature so you can breed with them, which is another 2 to 3 days. You will also have to go out of your way to mass hunt their favorite food. And also you have to farm whatever you need for the regions you want to use. I started on an Endless Dream server with the 2.0, which was the release of these classes. Right now, we're in phase 3. All the content for the server is basically unlocked and we're just in farm mode. And right now, my pets are just not anywhere near complete. I think a lot of people are going to want to move off the server by the time I actually finish these pets. Now, initially, this didn't bother me much because when I started the server, I was able to pull a lunar wolf that I pulled out of a chest back in the lunar scenario. So I was like, okay, so this is going to be a very high investment start, but then as long as I can carry over my pets, this is going to be a reliable, very class down the long run. Even if I don't min-max them completely in this server, I can bring them to the next one and work on them there. Which makes sense because you put so much time into these pets. But then recently they did this bug fix post, and in there they wanted to clarify what they meant about animals and crops in Eternal Land. And it sure sounds like they do not want you to take animals from Eternal Land from scenario to scenario. They want you to only be able to bring the byproduct, which is what you would gut them for, you would slaughter them for. That was the moment I was like, oh, this class is pretty cool, to this class kind of stinks. Because again, even though this server is very populated right now, it's going to be very barren by the time I actually finish my wolves. So if this is their intention to make the pets be server bound basically, and you are going to have to raise and trade up new pets every scenario, they really do have to adjust and reduce the time gating on this. Otherwise, a lot of people are going to drop this class, I think, in the long run. After they realize they're spending all this time and dedication to building up these best in slot pets just for them to be only useful in this scenario, which means you basically would never want to leave a scenario. Just have these pets here with your server and just make this your own solo server basically where you do silos. But I don't think they're going to be strong enough even to make that a good idea. Some other things to talk about is also that the AIs for the animals need a lot of work. It's actually kind of insane that they didn't just copy and paste the lone wolf deviant over to it. Often when you shoot things, the lone wolf will just go after that one right away. My wolves, however, they just kind of go to enemies wherever they feel like it. Sometimes they'll even just lay down in the middle of the road. The AI for them is just bad. I also see them get stuck on a lot of things as well. And also it'd be nice if we got some flying pets, because there are just, you know, some annoying things about having your pets purely grounded. They won't cross things like bodies of water. They won't attack flying enemies, or well, they might have tried to attack them, but they're going to miss. So like a boss like Civitor, probably going to be very useless. Which also, it's really annoying that they're all 3 whistles that you had to put on your bar. It's not fun to summon them all individually. It's really annoying to have 3 things fill up your bar for that. I honestly wish there was just a way to have them auto summon whenever you shoot anything on cooldown. Most importantly, it's just annoying to waste 3 slots on my bar. So yeah, hopefully they do a lot of fine tuning. My biggest issue is if these animals, these pets here are going to be for a single server and can't be taken out of Eternal Land, they do have to greatly reduce the time gating in the min-maxing process. For a single server, this is just too much time and commitment for something you're going to do over and over again. Meanwhile, the other 2 classes are nowhere near as demanding on how much time it takes to actually do anything with the class. But that really sums up my experience and thoughts for Beastmaster. I still plan on doing a full build out on these ones on the server and seeing how it goes. So I will make a video about that once that's complete. And that'll be it for the video. Alright, bye.